Getting back to its original tone. Also, Kelly Rowland. Lines on the pimp game for my pinky ring. Lot of gang, lot of. Anti-personnel.
It is officially 6 o'clock. So thank you all. Thank you all. I want to go. Well, I was hoping to have my glasses. Give me 2 seconds. Good evening. It is officially 6 o'clock here in Chicago. And so, with that, I want to get into it. We have Win the Corporate Games, the skills you need to, and we're going to talk about those skills you need. Um, Today is March 25th, 2024. And again, I am here in Chicago and we are on Central Standard Time. But for those on the East Coast and any other coast, you're more than welcome to join us. I am attorney Shakita Hall Jackson of Hall Jackson and Associates. I am a licensed attorney here in the great state of Illinois. Deemed employment law expert, founder of Hall Jackson and Associates PLLC, which is a law firm that focuses strictly on employment law here in Chicago. And we do some real estate closings for those who want to buy or sell their home. These are just a few of the titles that myself hold, but none truly capture my fierce advocacy for marginalized employees and my passion for creating equitable workplaces in Illinois and beyond. My courtroom superpower is speaking up for those who have pretty much lost their voices and being silenced by workplace discrimination, harassment, and or retaliation. Shakita myself believes the workplace should be a safe, welcoming environment, and I am dedicating my life's work to ensuring minorities are seen, heard, and respected from the boardroom from the break room, to the back room to the boardroom. That is me, Shakita Hall Jackson. Again, I'm a licensed attorney here in Illinois. I'm also a mother of one and a wife of my husband for over 12 years. I know it's over 12 years. And with that, I want to come in and let you guys know that I have been featured in a few publications and let you guys know you're in the right room as far as someone is talking about winning the corporate game and also navigating workplaces, because again, my background as an employment law attorney, this is what I do every day, in addition to being deemed an expert and speaking on several platforms about navigating workplaces. This includes the Daily Herald, which is a Southern Chicago information source, aka a newspaper. Manage HR has done a feature on the firm and the work that we do here. Local 33, which is an NBC, and then we also have ABC, we have added Fox, WGN, and a few other major networks given, excuse me, different news breaks and press releases and several other things, and news story and coverage on several cases that we have done, and also coming in and just giving some expert opinion on certain things. I also was featured in Essence, which is my highlight so far, as to how women and minorities can navigate the workplace. And then workplace fairness, I have also been a part of doing various webinars, and I actually have one coming up this Thursday, so be on the lookout for that. So it's safe to say that you guys are dealing with someone who knows what she's talking about. So welcome, welcome, welcome. Why this masterclass? Do you feel stuck in your career? Have you been passed over for a promotion? Are you scared to ask for the promotion? Are you confused on what it would take to make you promotable? Do you dislike networking? Do you often attend networking events but feel like you have wasted your time? Are you confused on what benefits your employer offer? And then lastly, are you taking advantage of all of your company's benefits and perks? Hello?
Oh, sorry.
Oh, no problem. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I have this screen share, so I don't get to see too much, but welcome everyone that is joining us. Thank you guys for coming on in. I am live stream as well, but I'm going to continue, and then we'll have a session on question and answer. But again, thank you all for showing up. Again, why did I choose to put on this webinar? I think I want to go back now that I see more people in the room. I'll go back to over these questions if you guys did not see this. Again, why this masterclass, why you should attend it. Do you feel stuck in your career? Have you been passed over for a promotion? Are you scared to ask for the promotion? Are you confused on what would make you promotable? Do you dislike networking? Do you often attend networking events, but you feel like you have wasted your time? I know for me, I have. Like, what is the goal walking into this networking event? Did I walk out with what I wanted to accomplish? Did I even set out goals to accomplish something? Or was I just going for the idea that I'm in the room and an opportunity for a cocktail, whatever situation may be? Are you confused on what benefits your employer offers? And then are you taking advantage of all your company benefits and perks? So that's that. Why did I choose to put on this webinar? I chose to put on this webinar as an employment law attorney because so many people are just confused on what it takes to have a successful claim against their employer, whether you are making a actual litigation or claim against your employer, meaning the company within itself, or if you are trying to report to human resources the activity and actions of a few individuals. That is something that a lot of people just don't know what it looks like to make those reports. And so I find out that a lot of people are making claims that, you know, in the moment they don't feel like they're frivolous, they feel like they're justified in making those complaints. And unfortunately, I'll continue to tell you what happens with that. Then we also have a category. I want to ask everybody to hit mute, please. Let me see, can I do that? There we go. And so, excuse me. And so, again, there's a difference between bullying and then a hostile, someone putting you in a hostile work environment, someone who's actually doing the actions that will stand and have standing in court. And I'll talk about the difference of those. And then there's just people with poor leadership. A lot of times people stumble upon a position because their family or friends or the position was available, they was bold enough to ask for it, but they might not have the leadership skills it takes to run and successfully manage their team, and ultimately that impacts on how they show up and how your day-to-day is impacted. Another thing is people just do not understand the strength of their power or how to utilize their power. They never had the opportunity to have power, and so they abuse it and they don't know how to talk to people or treat people. And then next, too many L's, aka losses, at the EEOC level, which is the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, and in the courts for workers. So the more, you know, again, Leslie, all an employee's loss is a negative impact on all of us. So many people are filing claims after claims that does not have any standing. Excuse me, it ultimately impacts one, how your employer perceived these claims. You know, if human resources can get complaints after complaints, but nothing is substantiated, then they don't take them as serious as they receive them. So when something seriously does happen, they're not even taking the time to investigate it because they feel like they have wasted their time and energy on so many frivolous claims. That does not excuse them. They should be investigating all claims. And then next, if I had so many clients, and I just know from me reaching out to certain witnesses on behalf of clients that people are actually rooting on you. If you had the courage and you had the guts to go after your employer, we want to see that you are going to be successful because you might empower the next person who is suffering in silence that, okay, if she did it and she was successful, then maybe it's worthwhile. If I'm waiting in the background and I see that you lost your case, then I'm now in fear that if I bring my case, would I ever be successful? And what's going to happen to me after you done filed this case and then I try to bring something that they ultimately going to throw out? It just doesn't do much justice for those who are rooting for you in the background or silently just waiting to see what's going to happen with your case before they bring their own case. And so that's that. We're going to go into some differences between hostile work environment, and then we'll go into tonight's topic, and ultimately you guys can ask your questions. So write those down, put them in a chat so that we can get to them, whatever works best for you. I know my memory, I will have to write it down some kind of way, but whatever works best for you. And if you see something within this presentation that makes you want to ask a question, then feel free to just raise your hand. What is a hostile work environment? A hostile work environment exists when one's behavior within a workplace creates an environment that is difficult or uncomfortable for another person to work in due to illegal discrimination. I want everyone to notice the key terms. We all feel uncomfortable and find certain situations difficult all the time. Whether that's I'm going into a new nail shop, I'm going to drop my keys, a spare key off to my husband in the barbershop. As a female, I might not feel as comfortable walking into a barbershop full of men. And so does that, because it makes me uncomfortable, does that mean it's a hostile environment? No. Same thing when you go into a new place of employment and you might be the only minority. It might be uncomfortable for you, but does that automatically mean it is a hostile work environment? 9 times out of 10, the answer is no. And so I want you guys to pay attention to the last 4 words. It says due to illegal discrimination. So to have a hostile work environment, you have to have some form of discrimination attached to it. It usually means there's some protected class, aka your physical makeup, your mental makeup, determines if you have some kind of illegal discrimination. And we'll talk about that as we move forward. But I want you guys to keep that in mind. Because I get people all the time say, I'm in a hostile work environment. I'm being abused. This lady is harassing me. My supervisor is being abusive. Just different phrases, but you have to remember, 1, that it has to be attached to illegal discrimination, and then 2, we need to hear those action words. What actions? So in this particular situation, she has her head down with her head over her forehead, and it looks like a few people are yelling at her. So her action words would be yelling, screaming. A lot of people just don't do that. They just say, I was being harassed. She kept harassing me. What exactly is this person doing to you? Examples of hostile work environments. You have your sexual harassment, discrimination against a protected class, and then an employer who refuses to address the issues above. So with sexual harassment, it can be from either party, same sex, opposite sex, male on male, male on female, female on male, and vice versa. And so what you got to keep in mind is that this usually includes unwelcoming comments, touching, slurs, anything like that, referring to a woman's body part, a male body part, or actually making contact that makes someone uncomfortable, like the picture to the left, where this young man have his hands over her. She clearly looks uncomfortable, but the key thing is this welcoming? Based on her reaction, it looks like it might be unwelcome, but did she express to him that this doesn't feel comfortable to me? I don't like you touching me. Did she express those things? Discrimination against the protected class. Protected class, again, is your makeup. African American, female, over the age of 40, have a mental condition, has known disability. Those are the protected classes, and the action has to be related to those protected classes. Meaning, I'm feeling like my supervisor is treating me this way and refuse to address my issue because she has issues with Black females. She is a white female and she has issues with understanding and listening to Black females, or she just doesn't like them overall. Examples of what is not a hostile work environment includes petty slights, annoyances, and isolated incidents. So usually for a hostile work environment, you have to have things that are continuous, that's happening over again. It doesn't mean that it has to happen a minimum of 30 times or nothing like that, but it can't just be one day that she called me a bad word. How often is this? Because they do look at how often, what's the frequency of these behaviors. So it cannot be, once again, an isolated, aka one-time thing. Of course, definitely report something as it begins, or at least start that documentation stage of going into your phone in your note section and putting that information in there. On March 25th at 6:15, Joy called me, whatever the word is, and who was around you at that time, who else maybe had witnessed this conversation. We need to start documenting these things. Again, a petty slight is, I had a client complain about her supervisor would purposely go out of her way to go to where their office were. McDonald's was immediately, less than 2 minutes away, probably in the next building over. And she would purposely go and get everybody a meal and pass them out and wait till my client got there and purposely not buy her anything. As women or as adults would say, that doesn't bother me, but ultimately it got to her because she was doing this on purpose along with other actions, and that was just another thing. She wouldn't let her take a break, but yet she was feeding everybody but her. So could that be a petty slight? In most people's opinion, that would be. But on top of several other things that she was doing, it might be something major within that context to help build up a case against what the supervisor was doing. But then again, just, little mean comments here and there or micromanaging, is that enough to have something to bring to the level of the court? 9 times out of 10, no, but it's definitely worth reporting. The next slide we want to go over is the free method. So again, as an employment law attorney and receiving multiple calls and intakes on people complaining about what's going on in their workplace and pretty much doing a consultation to determine whether or not what they're feeling is illegal. Can they have legal grounds? And so with that, I came up with a method to help people navigate the workplace. And the first one is, it is the free method, and the F stands for figure out. Once you get into these new settings, you want to take the time to take everything in. What are we figuring out? We want to figure out, is this the space for me? Can I thrive in this space? And this is the time to be nosy. Looking at the company website, taking in what and reflecting on how did I feel during the interview process. All interviews make people feel nervous. I don't care if you're a pro, how oftentimes you have interviewed, if you already know the person or you actually got someone to walk you to that interview and say, look, we're going to hire you. I just need you to go through the formalities. Regardless of that, we always come with nerves, but also you want to look at who was the people that were on the panel to interview. How did they make you feel? How did you feel? Did you feel comfortable and freely in asking questions when the opportunity came? Did you feel like they really was engaging you? Or was this just a task that they needed to complete? Figure those things out before you accept the job offer. Next, relish. Once you figure out where you're going and how things fit and you got in the company and yourself, let's relish. Let's get excited about what the possibility of tomorrow and the future can bring for us. And then we want to educate and research. So many people get handbooks, and I was guilty of this too as an employee. And we might go through certain portions, or we might just sign off the waiver that we received the handbook, but we do not actually take the time to read and go through the handbooks. And so I tell people, just because I know that's another tedious task that most people do not want to do, it's a few things that I highlight in my book that you should definitely, sections and portions of the handbook that you should definitely put on your radar if you do not want to read the whole handbook. And that usually looks at their attendance policies, the reporting structure, who should you report to? Because although you have been introduced during orientation and whatever other portion of within the workplace, that this is your immediate supervisor, this is who you report to, this is your reporting days and things like that. A lot of times people fail to realize, if it is my supervisor that's doing an action to me, who can I now go report to? And so that's usually located in your handbook. And if not, you might want to ask those hard questions. Excuse me. Research. You can do your own independent research wherever you feel needed. If you want to know what is a protected class, whatever situation, take the time to research it. But I usually tell people everything you usually need to know is usually in your handbook on a company website, some kind of, I think they call them Ethernet and different internal policies and platforms. Try to look into that. Next is embrace. Pretty much after you figure it out and feel like this is the job for me, I get excited about it, and I actually educate and try to take advantage of these things, then you want to embrace the opportunity of take things to the next level and everything that comes with that. Again, the book talks more in details about that. So objections. we actually talked about the objections already, so I do apologize as to why you need to be here. But I do want to talk about the objective of being here. The skills you need to network within. So let's start there. Anybody have any questions on hostile work environment before we go? If not, we can pick up questions in the next 5 to 10 minutes. I just want to get through this presentation, and then I'll let you guys have the floor.
I do have a question.
Go ahead.
Oh.
And just FYI, let me put a disclaimer real quick. I'm sorry. Let me put a disclaimer out there. This is live streaming on YouTube. And so in the event you want to talk about a personal situation, feel free. But if you want to just maybe, I want to give you a tip that you might want to, when it comes to employers, you might just want to say, I work for a factory or whatever situation may be. You can talk about the demographic without giving away the name. If you choose to give up the name, that's on you. But I just want to warn people before they speak, but feel free.
So if my supervisor, right, decides to have a team kind of meeting, but like informally, which is like in the lunchroom at the work building, or let's say, you know, at a restaurant, right, and to go over and discuss certain work things, how does that work if they create that hostile work environment?
So just to be clear, do you have how many people are on your team?
I believe it's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I want to say at least 6 or 7.
Okay. Is it required and mandatory based on your job description that you attend these meetings?
I don't believe that it is, like, for the lunch one. But of course, with trying to keep the, you know, the company or the morale, right, and spirit of team, then it's something that we all agreed to do.
So based on that, are you the only one being excluded?
Yeah.
Okay, so what I need you to do is you can take a sheet of paper or you put it in your head, whatever works for you. List all the people that you know are on the team, then by their names, you can put their initials, whatever, put their race and gender. And then if there's a difference, then you might have something there legally. If there is no difference, then you technically can still address it. You'll just let your...
So I just want to be clear. So, hello?
I'm here.
Can you hear me?
Yes. I can hear you. Go ahead.
Hello?
Can you hear me? Hello?
Hello? Can you hear me now?
Go ahead. Yes.
Okay. And so just so we're clear, I was invited to this, but the supervisor decided to kind of make a public, how can I say, display of me and kind of say very direct and indirect comments, right? To which I knew that she was referring to me. And having my other coworkers kind of pounce on me, like, okay, yeah, this, why'd you do this? You know, bringing up certain things, which I didn't find it to be very professional, the way that she handled it.
So did you talk to her directly?
We all spoke in the meeting, or yeah, at the lunch meeting, and then I did speak to her afterwards.
And what was her response?
Basically, she wanted me to tell my coworkers that I wore, for example, like hearing aids, and that I process information slow. She
asked you to do that?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna have you mute yourself, and then I'm gonna put your question on the back end because I do have some advice for you, but I want to get through the presentation.
Okay.
Okay, but based on what you said, that portion, she should not be guiding you to do that. That's a violation of your HIPAA. But we'll talk more about that. Just make sure you raise your hand again. All right, guys. So thanks for your question, Ms. Martinez. So ultimately, we want to talk about, now that we know what it takes to have a hostile work environment, a lot of times we realize what we have and it's just bully. And even what Miss Martinez stated, someone might be just a poor leader. She doesn't know any better, that you can't go around and ask people to give out their medical information to their coworkers. I get it. There might be another reason and grounds for it, but that's not professional. And so at this point, we want to see, like, if this is the job for me, should I continue to stay in this environment or should I exit? And if I do want to stay, how can I thrive within this particular environment? And that's what I'm here to talk about tonight, the skills you need to network within. And so in these situations, a lot of times we look outwards to see, I want to find a new job. So I'm searching on, I want to say Monster. I don't even know if Monster.com even exists, but LinkedIn, Indeed, and all these other job platforms. We might even put a post out on LinkedIn. In the job market, anyone knows anybody hiring, we might ask our colleagues and friends that we know might have a connection at a particular organization or company. And so we start looking out, but we don't look within our own network. Who can we ask? When I say network, definitely ask your family and friends who might have something and might have leadership goals and roles that they can help you with. But what about your colleagues that's there? You might not feel comfortable in asking your particular supervisor, but what about another supervisor or someone in leadership in another department that might be able to,
Hello.
Yes.
Oh, it sounded like you cut off.
No, can everybody else hear me? We're good. Thank you. And so, excuse me, just let me somebody put in the chat. Yes, everybody else can hear. And so anyway, with the skills you need, you pretty much network and look into the left and the right and also in other departments and see who can exactly help you by asking, those questions. A lot of times we have to start off with that. I have a coach who likes to call it the warm handshake. You want to just make people feel comfortable in knowing you, who you are. So a brief introduction. Hi, I'm Shakita. I'm over in the legal department. What's your name? Good. If there's anything I can ever do, let me know. I'm looking to transition over into this department. I would like to learn more about this department and what you guys do. Can we take, let me know when you're free for a coffee, whatever situation may be. We have to learn to utilize the people within the company, because the good part is about those things is that these individuals usually have a relationship with people that you might want to have a relationship with, the people that you, or the department that you might want to transition to, the role that you might want to transition into. They might have a connection that can make it happen for you. So make sure we are utilizing those things. And then utilizing the company access to your advantage. It simply means that I did once have a program where we did a webinar, shall say, on EAP programs. And that's just the employee assistance programs. And so many people didn't even know about, they have been with the company over 20 years. They hadn't even known that their company offered a percentage off with their phone bill. So if you take the time, you might get percentage off on whether you would Sprint, T-Mobile, or other different major phone companies that your employee might have discounts with. This also includes airlines, hotels, and different things like that. So you want to take advantage of those things because one, you want to show the company that you're interested and you appreciate what they're offering. And then two, that also give you another opportunity to talk to someone else within the company and get someone else to know your name by calling the benefits department, by calling human resources. I want to see a list of our benefits. How can I find it? Do you mind emailing it to me? And that's another contact where you're not complaining or making a complaint with human resources, but you're more so digging into the benefits and the perk, and which could spark up a conversation and ultimately lead to that bridge for you guys to have more conversations, and you can be on someone's mind. They put name to face, whatever situation may be, voice with your resume when it come across for a promotion opportunity or for a lateral move. And then lastly, promote yourself to promote yourself. I know some people have heard the phrase personal branding a lot lately. A lot of people on social media are now promoting that idea. Let's think of the Tabitha, I could not miss Tab last name. Why I can't get Tab name right now? Somebody come off mute and tell me what's Tab last name. With Donna, the hair. Is it?
Good evening. It's Tabitha Brown.
Thank you. Good evening, Tabitha Brown. And so with that, she started out by eating a sandwich online and seeing how she would like it. It was a vegan sandwich, and then she started just trying different vegan restaurants. But that ultimately got her invites for different new vegan restaurants or vegan restaurants that wanted to get some free publicity. So they would invite her out to come taste their new menu or whatever situation may be, as long as she was in exchange willing to do it on her platform. And that ultimately led her to where she is today by simply putting herself out there. It's so many other people that, Jess Hilarious just landed a platform with the Breakfast Club by simply starting off with doing jokes on social media and skits and things. Country Wayne just talked about how much he makes a year by simply starting off doing the same thing, just utilizing social media. And so a lot of us, I know for me, is this fine line of what should I put on LinkedIn versus what I should put on another platform such as Facebook or Instagram or something like that. But the main thing is, in all these situations, regardless of what platform you try to utilize, that you are putting yourself out there. Not necessarily I'm putting a company out there that I work for. You can definitely highlight the different things you did for the company. So with this, I usually tell people, I had one guy come to me and he was telling me that he have worked. He asked me about burnout. He said, as an attorney, do you feel burnout? I said, I think it comes with the territory in most situations, but at this point in my career, I have, less of it. But I asked him, how often are you working? And he said, over 60 hours in 1 week. And I said, why? And he said, because I'm trying to get someone to notice me. I said, well, have anybody noticed you yet? And he said, no. And I'm like, 9 times 10, they're not. You're stuck in a corner in a cubicle somewhere or in the corner office doing work. And who's actually checking in to see if you're the first there or you're the last out? It's very rare someone is going to notice that. What you need to do, and the better way of possibly doing, is that go look at the calendar of events that your company has and let someone know, look, I'm available this weekend and I see you guys are going to be in Phoenix and we're going to be we're going to be a sponsor. I'm willing to go to Phoenix and be the face for the company that weekend. Something like that will get you noticed more than you just sitting at a desk and doing 80 plus hours or something. Now it's different if you just need to get the work done. But just to do it so that someone eventually can say, oh, that person's a hard worker, they deserve the promotion. That's not going to get you the promotion. You're going to be overlooked, because what it can indicate, and I have had supervisors say this in depositions when I'm trying to fight on behalf of a client. Well, they couldn't get the workload done in the allotted amount of time. We give you 40 hours, you're working on things for 60 hours. That means that you don't deserve a promotion because you can't keep up with the current caseload based on the allotted hours. So why would we give you more work? Why would we give you a new title and more authority if you cannot keep up with those things? So we got to keep that in mind. A lot of times those things does not work. If you can't make the events, I know everybody can't make every event. My weekend is for my weekends. That's some people attitude. But can you give up maybe 1 weekend in a quarter to go sit at a they have, what is these 5K walks and different things like that, and your company is a sponsor. You might want to go sit on a Saturday and give up 2 hours to pass out swag. Your company is sponsoring, the local charity event where they bought 10 tickets for a table. Maybe you and a colleague who want to get dressed up can go and just let someone know that, look, I'm available, I'm willing to go. Same thing, take an opportunity to look at the newsletters. Who was being highlighted as Employee of the Month? But take the time to read it and see what they felt was highlightable and what they felt was a great attribute to the company, where they felt like they wanted to highlight this person for that month. What else are you doing that's similar to what that person's doing? Or can you take from that and maybe start building on that? So that's what I mean by promoting yourself to promote yourself. So don't just be doing these things. Make sure you're utilizing the idea that, who was the contact person at the end of that newsletter? Who is the contact person that made the announcement that you guys gonna, who's over events and planning, different things like that. You want to make sure that they are aware of it and let your supervisor know that this is what I'm doing. Whoever will be the decision maker and help you move into the next position or highlight what you're doing. I got a few more minutes and then I'm gonna open it up for questions. So start writing down your questions. So working with Hall Jackson and Associates. So we do these webinars, one, to educate people, because as I stated, we get so many people that I would love to help them. They're ready to pay me, got their credit cards ready to go, but unfortunately, there's nothing there legally. And I tell them, don't take my word. You know, here's a nice network of employment law attorneys that fight on behalf of workers every day. Feel free to get a second, third, fourth, fifth opinion and see if there's something there, but 9 times out of 10, it's not. And so with that, we definitely believe in an inclusive and diverse environment. And so I'm on a mission to educate people so that we can disrupt what we know as workplace norms of discrimination, harassment, and we're doing this play along to get along. I want to make sure we disrupt that by the time my now 4-year-old enters to the workforce. And so I want to host these monthly webinars, one, to educate you, but also empower you that you can take your career to the next level. You can go as high as you want with the right tools and equipment. And that usually starts with you utilizing your voice, opening your mouth, and let people know that you're there. And that you want the promotion, that I want to advance. I want to travel off the company's dime. I'm willing to go here, whatever you need to do. I want to do more travel. And I see that they send Scott all the time. Well, because Scott probably made it clear that he's open to travel. You know, he doesn't have kids or a wife, whatever the situation may be. So we have to learn that everything is not attack, everything is not discriminatory. It's a lot of times of the right people opening their mouth and say, hey, I'm willing to do these things. And you can do it too, so that you can pivot in your workplace and in your career. And so with that, we're offering a consultation here tonight. The benefits of a consultation: it provides you with the expert advice and guidance tailored to your specific situations. It helps you make important decisions and informed decisions, and understanding your rights and obligation as an employee. Can help you understand your legal options and take appropriate actions to protect your rights. And it can significantly increase your chances of achieving a favorable outcome in your case. So ultimately, you get someone who knows the law, at least as it relates to employment law, and what it takes to bring a case, and then we can let you know whether or not we feel like you have it. Now, with Hall Jackson and Associates, there are 2 options. You can have a free consultation, or you can have a paid consultation. With the benefit of the paid consultation, you get me directly for an hour on Zoom. You get to share your screen with any documents that you feel like you need to work on or that you want to share with me, and we come up with a game plan, either one to address the document or help you craft some kind of email for your employer, or just simply give you a yes or no whether or not I feel like something is there, and if it's not, what we need to take to build up your case before you can, go to litigation. And then the free version, you still have a benefit of it running across my desk, but you will not talk to me directly with your free consultation. You'll talk to a team member of mine. They will evaluate the case. Well, they will interview you, gather all your documents, and communicate with you. And then they will do a summary for me, send your package over to me. And then on a weekly meeting, we will review your file and see whether or not you're fit for the firm. So it can take about a week or 2 before you get your yes or no. And then you also will not get that from me. You'll get it from the team member. Based on the review, we decided that you're not a fit, or if you are a fit. And then from there, we'll determine the next steps for you. And so with that in mind, tonight I'm offering $250 off. Fast bonus action: if you book by midnight tonight, you get $250 off our consultation that is paid. That ranges from it's $1,000. I do apologize, but it come down to $750 if you book by midnight tonight. And so with that in mind, I am attorney Shakita Hall Jackson. I thank you all for being here. We're right at 40 minutes on the dot. So thank you for your patience and time. I'm going to drop this link in the chat, and then we're going to go ahead and open the floor for questions. But I do want to grab some water. Again, thank you all for coming in. If you're interested in having a paid consultation, feel free to book before midnight. So give me 2 seconds to go off camera and I was not on video all this time. Give me 2 seconds. I'll be right back. I want to get water. Again, thank you all. Anybody that want to ask a question, feel free to raise your hand and I will call you in the order in which I see you all. We have 20 minutes left for question and answer. Anyone with questions, concerns, or comments? Clarification? Melissa, did you want to pick up your question? Uh-oh. One once. So I'm not sure if I'm assuming you guys can hear me. Tracy, can you let me know if you can hear me in the chats?
Good evening. I'm able to hear you.
Okay, good. Thank you. Did you have a question?
There are several questions that I have. I'm recently going through a situation at work, in which I was terminated during a probationary period, and there are just some things there. Now, because this is federal, I did take legal action with a federal employment attorney.
Mhm.
And with that, I was able to go over everything with them, and they were able to, I don't know what the correct term is, but to decipher everything that I provided with them, because it's can be expensive to work with attorneys. And what I found is that the better prepared an individual is, an employee, if you're going to allege a complaint, it's easier for you as well as them, and able to put the pieces of the case together, as well as, for monetary expenses as well. And, one thing that they kept emphasizing to me, and even though I have a lot of attorneys in my family, um, you know, having to take this particular action was different. Let me say that growing up, I've never been illusion of the fact of things that occur in the workplace that are oftentimes uncomfortable or unfavorable as being a Black person. But my emphasis to the attorney was that please look at my work. I kept stressing to them, I want to be judged by the quality of my work, because one of the items that was stated to me by the employer was in regards to my case files. And I was like, that's not true. They never even really addressed any of my case files with me. So just kind of curious, because I kept emphasizing, I understand. They said we have to allege it to something, and they said race, blank, blank, blank. And I said, yes, but what about, stressing the emphasis on my work? Um, and it wasn't that I was trying to get away from the race, but sometimes if things are not blatantly stated, or if it's an action that's not blatant, that can be a little challenging in regards to how you assess the situation and bring forth a claim. And I just want any feedback with that. But they were able to, um, successfully put things together. Let me just say that.
Okay. Well, congratulations on that. So I'm glad you brought that up. One thing about hiring an attorney or wanting an attorney to look at your case, and then if they decide they can move forward in this issue, we have to be comfortable with alleging and stating certain things, and that the actions were based off one of my protected class, whether that's race, gender, sexual orientation, whatever situation it be. And a lot of people, and I know especially for Black women, I don't want to go down that route because, I'm new in my career, I still got a few years in my career, and I don't want to be throwing around the race thing. Who's going to deal with me after that? But that's pretty much what most of employment law claims are. You have to have those protected classes attached to them. As it relates to looking at your work, it's a possibility that an employment law attorney can look at your work, but if that's not the field that they're in, and 9 times out of 10 it's not, I'm not sure what industry you're in, then they can tell if your supervisor said your case file was always grammatically issue or whatever situation may be, they might not be able to tell that compared to what your counterparts, aka your coworkers, are doing. So what we usually look for is a copy of your personnel file, and if there is some kind of footprint or blueprint to show that you have been cited for these same issues on a number of times, versus you've been receiving emails or performance evaluations and no one never once challenged this, and now all of a sudden it's a problem because I made a complaint. Those are what we look for. We wouldn't necessarily look at your actual work, because to be honest, I wouldn't know if that's a good job or not. We're more so looking at the blueprint and the paper trail to say, did your employer cite you on multiple times, or did they fail to cite you and say that, you know, your work was poor, and now all of a sudden that you bring in some kind of legal claim or allegations against them, that's their default. That's what an employment law attorney usually look for. I hope that answered your question.
Yes, it did somewhat, but this is the thing. I've been in this particular profession for 20 years, but I had worked for other industries and went back to the federal government. And as a result on that, even though I had worked for the federal government when I started out in my career, um, because this was a new position, I still had to go under the 1 year probationary period. And as a result of that, there was never like any really true feedback with my work. I was there under a year, and um, I did receive a positive mid-year evaluation. Now, I can say that particular item, because there were two items that were cited for me. One of them had to do more so with processing these particular types of complaints. And with that, I can say that I did make mistakes of my own admission. I did make mistakes, but it's not as though other individuals at work still don't make mistakes or ask people questions. Now, this particular activity and task I'm familiar with, but in a different way, where I've always responded. I mean, if we go back 20 years, I've always had a pager. I've always been on call for the type of work that I've done. But this is just a little more polished, sophisticated database system. And with that, every individual who receives a particular type of complaint, just letting you know, this is related to like health and safety, environmental, every individual interprets these situations differently. Where, you know, I might interpret when I have to call an individual and can decipher multiple things. One person may say, you know, interpret it. So there kind of is no standard, you
So
know,
can I ask you a
amongst
question? Are you in human resources?
no,
Okay, so
no.
are you an investigation or an inspector? Because you mentioned
Right,
that you
more
get
so,
somebody. Go
right,
ahead.
more so along those lines. That's correct.
And so you are on the receiving end if I was to come in and make a complaint because I felt like my supervisor was doing something to me.
No, it's more in regards to environmental issues, work related. That's
Got
what it
it.
is. Like, yeah, like I'm
Safety.
operating right. I'm operating a machine. It did not have the proper guard on it, you know, things of that nature.
Nice.
But
Got it.
let me say, if you have 10 people who alternate between this system, because you're going to get it from walk-ins, online, as well as phone calls. And, you know, every individual, based on their knowledge of standards, is going to interpret it differently.
Yeah.
So
So
there
just
is no,
I'm not sure your question, but I would like to take a moment to clarify this. So there is different ways to make complaints. Like if there's wages,
yeah,
I'm not getting my wages. There's a Department of Labor. You can challenge that they failed to, you know, I worked these number of hours and they failed to give me my wages. That have nothing to do with your protected class. And the same thing with safety. There's the OSHA venue, OSHA, and that pretty much allows people to make complaints about safety concerns and hazardous concerns within the workplace. And then there is a whistleblower complaint and component, I shall say, to that as well. If I'm calling out a concerned employee or citizen that this is going on in the workplace, people are not properly getting PPE or they're not properly getting the tools and equipment they need to operate machinery. And I'm the one who tried to, you know, make that awareness and bring that awareness. And as a result, my employer retaliates against me by simply removing my job duties, fire me, whatever situation may be, then OSHA would be that venue. And again, you do not need that protected class. So thanks for highlighting that. But what is exactly is your question so that we can make sure if anybody else have one, we can get to them.
well, you pretty much covered it. It is more lengthy, and I'm not going to drag that out. But pretty much what the attorneys gathered, they had to allege it back to race, which, you know, I kept saying, look at my work, my work, my work, because I hadn't gotten any feedback. And let me not lose track. Oh my goodness.
That happened
In
to me all the
regards,
time.
yeah, I'm sorry about that. I don't
Mhm.
want to take up time from anybody else. But oh, they said the attorney said they were gonna go and look at everything with pretext,
Mhm.
where they were gonna show. So that's just how their approach to it is that they're gonna get in there to look at things and see that there is some pretext. And that's pretty much it.
Yeah, and pretext just simply means can you find a lie? Can you find another shift in reason? You citing this reason, but can we find out the reason is something else? Thank you for participating. I appreciate you. Anyone else? We have exactly 9 minutes left. I want to maximize this time. Anybody else? Again, you don't have to feel obligated to say your employer's name. You can speak in general terms. Um, if no one else come off, I'll just give some feedback on Melissa real quick. So Melissa, in your situation, it sounds like your supervisor, and I have seen this a lot of times when people actually go make a complaint to their immediate supervisor and their response is, well, maybe you should take this person out to lunch and you let them know that you feel this way. But as far as asking someone to talk about their ability to process information, and anything that you have reduced to medical documentation to show that you are visually impaired, hearing impaired, whatever situation may be, those are sensitive documents. And that is a part of your personnel file and your medical record if you choose to share that with your employer. But there should be some kind of protection, and it's outlined in your employee handbook. And if not, feel free to go
Hello?
to your, can you hear me?
You got stuck. Hello?
Yes. Melissa, I can hear you,
Hello?
but give me 2 seconds and then I'll let you back in. But what I'm trying to say is that ultimately it's up to you, but in the accommodations department, it should tell you whether or not they will accommodate that. And that should be between you and your supervisor. They should be but you have to ask for some kind of accommodation. But go ahead. What were you gonna add?
So, so I requested my accommodation. The doctor cleared me to return to work with accommodations October 2023. I still had not heard anything back until March 7th, right? And this was after I filed an unemployment claim, right? So an hour later, I received this letter stating that my accommodations were approved, March 7th, 2024. And so throughout this time, I've received no pay or anything like that. But then my supervisor also wrote on there, even though this memo was coming from the RA, the regional area administrator, and it said it was approved, she's still asking if she still has to adhere to the flex time schedule, even though she's not in agreement with it. And
So did
so,
she copy you and the RA on that email?
yes.
Okay, keep going.
So at this point, I still have it. They still haven't let me know a return date, even though the accommodation letter says effective immediately. They still have to reinstate me, right? And she never contacted OES or whoever she needed to contact. So I contacted the staff union representative who I've been in communication with, because I also reached out to my state representative from my district and the staff union representative to help me with this, because I'm like, this is ridiculous. This is literally like discrimination right here.
But quick
Why
question,
are they
did
not
you go
approving?
to the human resources? Did you go to EEOC?
I did, but they're still reviewing it.
Okay, and I'll be honest, it could take up to a year or two for them. But I was just gonna say, go ahead and reserve your rights back. Go ahead and file a claim with them. And in the event that your employer finally, do what they're supposed to do, then you can always withdraw it. But just to reserve their right, definitely make sure make sure they actually put your charge on file for you. But that's
Okay.
another thing. They intake process right now is so lengthy. If you call right now, you probably get an interview in October or something. So despite that, you want to make sure you reserve your date and actually get your charge, review it, sign it, and turn it back in. Make sure you submit a signed, executed, and dated charge. And then as far as what's going on in the workplace, I will simply follow up an email and say, I'm demanding an answer by this date because my family is impacted. I need pay. and see what happens. But make sure you put it in writing. Just pretty much ask what you're seeking. And then you might want to go back to your doctor and get an updated medical accommodation form, because I'm pretty sure they're going to say, if that was in October last year, they're going to try to bad time and say you need an updated one. So just get in front of it and get a medical appointment on file as soon as possible and resubmit an updated version.
Yeah, so I did resubmit an updated one to them, and so on the approval for the accommodations, they did write that I have to submit a new one come like before June 7th.
Yeah, they're just gonna play the clock, so I will get in front of it. Do another one in late May.
Okay.
Yeah, because they just gonna play the clock.
Really? Because they put no later than June 1st and not before June 6th. It's what they wrote on there.
You mean no earlier than June 1st and no later than June 6th?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Well, then schedule something now for June 1st.
Yep.
I would do that now because you know how doctor offices are. So see, can you get something there for the first week of June and turn it in?
Okay.
Now, hopefully you don't have to wait that long to go back to work, but I would still have my doctor's appointment because the paperwork is what they really need.
Okay.
Best of luck to you. Thanks for participating. Ask questions.
That's it. Thank you.
No problem. We have exactly 4 minutes left. Anyone else? Comments or concerns? If you found this helpful, please drop it in the chat. Did anyone have any difficulty finding the link today or learning about the actual webinar?
No, I was fine. This is Shanae. I was speaking earlier. I just want to say thank you very much for doing this session. It's greatly appreciated. And I just want to say, luckily growing up, like I said, there were things that were taught to me by my family. So I was never, illusioned by what can occur in the workplace. But I just want to say, oftentimes, as Black people, because I work with a lot of youth, sometimes they don't know how to handle situations like this. Unfortunately, sometimes their parents may not have talked to them about it, or they don't understand, proper chain of command when they do go to jobs. And that, this information is just so helpful to people, because a lot of times people don't know what to do, in the workplace when they encounter situations like that.
Thank you. I appreciate it. That's the same reason why I do it, because of course our grandmothers, our grandfathers, and anyone else that was in our lives that worked, they'll probably tell you to this day, we put our heads down, go do the work, get the check, and take care of our families and counting the days to our retirement, right? And a lot of times people don't speak up. And unfortunately, this has left us in 2024 when the Civil Rights Act of 1964 was enacted to stop these same actions that we're still dealing with it in 2024, because we just play along to get along. And unfortunately, I refuse to have my child do the same thing. So I have to start now. So by the time she enters to the workforce, that she knows how to open her mouth respectively and get what she needs. But thank you for your feedback. Thank you, Ms. Gray Young. Definitely reach out. Thank you, Ms. Crump. And thank you all for coming out tonight. This was wonderful. This is a room full of new faces, except Ms. Crump. So I really appreciate that. That means the marketing messages is getting out there. And we do appreciate each one of you. We will be having another one in April. So be on the lookout. We should probably drop that by the second week of April, but follow us, like and follow us on all social platforms at Blow the Whistle Law. Blow the Whistle Law. Make sure you do the law on the back end, because with that, there is a regular Blow the Whistle. But if you do Blow the Whistle Law, we do daily reels and educate people on how to navigate the workplace, and just some good tips about workplace discrimination. So we hope to see you there. Again, if you feel like you need to talk to me more and you want to get some more answers or questions, feel free to take advantage of this $250 off. That is good until 11:59 tonight. Thank you. Let's go take our voice back and shake up some things in the workplace. Have a great night, everyone.
Okay, you too.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Tracy.
You're welcome, Attorney Shakita Hall Jackson of Hall Jackson and Associates.
And this is Noble, Tracy. Every time I tell you, I don't know, Noble do this for me. This is who I'm talking about.
Okay, I'm a hop off girl.
All right, take care.
All right.
Hello, sir.
That was great.
Thank you. I appreciate your help.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I'm glad I was able to help.
Yes, it was helpful. And so yeah, we got most of the people from today. I saw people registering between yesterday and today, so that's good. I just want to work on those funnels. And so I meet with Audria, who does the uncloned marketing. I gave her all my topics all the way from April. Well, I gave her from March to, December. So we meet on the 9th. I want to say the 8th or the 9th. I can't recall. And we're going to go through, I want to just make sure it's the simplest way I'm saying it. Like April, some of our allies. Give me 2 seconds, I can tell you. It is cultivating, I put love of your career, learn how to network to achieve your career goals. So I just want to make sure she, if she has some feedback on how we can say that or not, a better way. And then I'll give you, but that's pretty much what we'll be talking about. You still here, Daniel? Oh yeah. And so then, so I just want to make sure it's clear, because like everybody fell in love with that last one I did on someone else's platform. It's like what the law have to do with it or something like that. Did you see that?
Yeah, I saw the one you made. Your Facebook post you share on Facebook.
Yeah, like everybody was like sharing that one. I'm like, that's not but they really liked the topic because it was nice and clear. And it conveyed what we would be talking about. So many people like really. So I just want to make sure my messaging is clear and easy and not going over people's head. Hers, what law has to do with it. Navigating termination, discrimination, and self-advocacy. So that was like a clear topic. So I just want to come up with clear topics so that people can know.
Are you streaming on YouTube right now?
Am I who?
Are you streaming on YouTube right now?
Thank you.